there, this is Michael Ludden, and this is my review of the Samsung Galaxy Note 7. Okay, so just really quickly about the phone. It's the newest Galaxy Note, Samsung's phablet series. They basically created the category, and they're still killing it. They skipped the Note 6 naming, which is what it is, the sixth Note, to bring it in line with the Galaxy S series. So we got the S7, S7 Edge. It's got a lot of the same stuff that basically is the exact same internal hardware configuration as the S7 and S7 Edge, which still have top of the line specs. So it's got a Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 processor, 4 gigabytes of super fast RAM, UFS 2.0 internal storage, which is way faster than what most of the competition has. SD card support, external only. You can't use it as adoptable storage, which is a decision I actually agree with for performance reasons. IPv68 waterproofing, a new addition to the Note series. Stellar fast focus, 12 megapixel camera on the back, same wide angle front-facing camera on the front, OIS and all that, same resolution screen, 2K screen. We'll talk more about the enhancements there later. So that's the same stuff. Now let's talk about the new stuff. So there's enhanced S Pen hardware. As you can see here, you cannot put it in backwards. It's slightly smaller than last year's, but they fixed Pen Gate, where you can no, you can't. Where you can where you can put it in backwards and ruin the S Pen slot forever. So that is gone. Yay! New S Pen software tricks. So there's screen off writing. Well, actually, that's not new. That was on the last Note. But now you can pin it to the AlwaysOn display. So if I go boop, 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 and I hit that little pin button, then it will, hello? Yeah, there you go. It's pinned to my screen off display. I could see a few uses for that. I mean, it's not something that I've clamored for, but nice to have, right? You can also record GIFs with it, which I love that idea. I haven't actually used it extensively, but I'm sure once I do, I will not stop. You can basically record a portion of the screen using the pen. And all the returning functionality I don't use with the S Pen. Updated TouchWiz, better UI for apps like the camera, and the overall look and feel. So let me show you the camera UI. So now it's very swipey as opposed to having a bunch of on-screen buttons, which makes, oh, there I am. Makes a lot more sense. Hi. Which I like better, and I hope it carries over to other S7 versions. It should. It would suck if they limited it to this for no reason. Edge panels are new to the Note series, aside from the Note Edge that came out as a variant of the Note 4 with its garish, huge thing. I really like the brighter screen, so this gets up to 1,048 nits of brightness according to some sites, which makes it by far the brightest screen in existence. I have it all up all the way on screen brightness right now. And I can tell you in daily usage, it was always bright enough. In fact, a lot of times it's too bright for me. I have to turn it down a little bit. It's like, whoa. And I feel the phone getting hot, but that's a separate issue we'll get into. It's like, well, why is it making it so bright? I understand they want to show off their screen tech. So it's brighter, and the viewing angles are just ridiculous. I mean, it looks like, this is not a real screen. It's a fake dummy phone. You can see it from any angle. It doesn't get dark. It's brilliant. It feels like it's swimming on the surface. It's the little things, right? It's basically a refinement of the S7 Edge and the S7 screen, which are great. I love the 64 gigabytes of internal storage that are standard. It was 32 gigabytes storage on the S7 and the S7 Edge and the Note 5, but it's 64 gigabytes for every configuration. There's only one configuration, and you have expandable storage. But that means you may not need expandable storage, which is better. Because no matter how fast your SD card is, it still slows down performance, especially when you compare it to UFS 2.0 internal storage, which is great. So if you can avoid that and you're getting the Note 7, I would say use the internal storage and see if that's enough for you and try to avoid using the SD card. But nice to know that you have that option. So my favorite aspect of this phone is the refinement of the design language all around. I mean, this is a waterproof phone, right? But just like the S7 Edge and the S7, but it looks more beautiful. They've shrunk the overall package. It's smaller than the Note 5 in every dimension, thickness, width and breadth and height and weight, everything. So it's the smallest 5.7-inch phone that I've ever used. I think it's the smallest 5.7-inch phone ever. But I would love to know in the comments what you think about that. If there is another 5.7-inch phone that you've seen that's actually smaller. The only one that comes close to me was the LG G3 that I've tried out. But that was a 5.5-inch phone. It wasn't a 5.7-inch phone. So this to me is the smallest feeling and the smallest physically that I've ever experienced. So please correct me if I'm wrong. I'd be very curious if there's some random one-off Chinese phone or something that's got smaller bezels that I don't know about. And I'm sure there will be in the future anyway. So now let's get into the actual review. So the good stuff, right? Like I said, I love this screen. You can tell. I love this design. The symmetry is incredible. So they've shrunk the edge on the sides here so that it basically maximizes screen real estate, makes you feel like there's no bezel on the side. You get the edge functionality, but it doesn't really detract from the experience or take away from anything that you would ever view normally. You don't even really notice it, but I just think it's a great refinement. The symmetricality is incredible. The curve on the back and the front are the same. The bezel on the top and the bottom are the same. I really appreciate that. It helps my OCD-ness. This is a beautiful phone. This is the most beautiful phone I've ever had. I love it. I don't even want to put a case on it. It's very unfortunate that I feel like I have to or I will break it. Oh, Gorilla Glass 5. I should mention that. This is the first phone with Gorilla Glass 5. There's some reports online that there's some issues with it, blah, 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 blah. I haven't had an issue. It's taken some hefty spills just straight like that. Nothing just scuffs. Don't want to do that again, but it's held up really nicely for me. So you may not need a case, but I am going to get one because I don't want to crack the corners. So what else do I like? Oh yeah, so USB-C is new, and nice to have. Reversible, future-proof, and no compromise, right? So you still get the adaptive fast charging 2.0 or whatever they're calling it now. Same speed as the S7 Edge and S7. Same fast wireless charging capability. All the same peripherals work with wireless charging. And they have a converter for USB 2.0 to USB or USB-C. From micro USB to USB-C. I feel like the 64 gigabytes of storage is luxurious. It's nice. Pen recording, I already mentioned that. Always on. I like that. Although it actually has more functionality, so you can have notifications. I've still got that. I turn that off because it's distracting, and it also draws an additional 5 to 10% power throughout the day, according to a lot of estimates. And I don't really need that. I have the lock screen for that. But I could see how some people would like it. I did like it on my Moto X when I had that, but I've gotten used to not having to deal with the additional notifications bothering me when the screen's off. I can just check the calendar and stuff, which I like. TouchWiz sucks a little less, although I don't see that very much because I've totally themed and skinned it. I use a material theme from the Samsung theme store, Nova launcher arranged like this, and the Google keyboard as I just showed you. So I try to not see it. One thing I don't like, this, right? On the S7 Edge, you can actually scroll along. Here, in order to get to the auto brightness, which I changed a lot, you got to swipe down again and to get to that second row. And I haven't found a way around that except from the Nova Launcher home screen, and that's only if I enable that as an accessibility option. So I would rather, like even the two, oh it does, yeah that's right. But if I'm doing it one-handed, right, I have to swipe down twice. It's just a little bit of an annoyance, and you can no longer scroll over or get the auto brightness on the top here. And there's this stupid search bar. Disabling TouchWiz stuff is always the most frustrating part of initial setup of a Samsung phone, and that has not changed here, sadly. There's also a lot of carrier bloatware. So that's a good segue into the stuff I don't like. But first, let me just say about the iris scanner. Meh, I don't care. I tried it. It's stupid. I mean, why would I ever do that when I have my thumb in order to like open the screen, right? So I got to swipe up and then, oh look, here. Let's see if it works. Wow, this always makes you look incredibly drunk and horrible. Hang on. Okay. Failed to recognize irises. Okay, that's the first time it's actually failed, but it's totally useless to me. It's a silly feature that's poorly implemented. If there was a way to voice wake the phone without touching it and use my eyes, maybe. And it is cool that it does it in the dark, but it's a parlor trick. Kind of like the S Pen, really, still, to me. Although I do like a lot of things about it. I like having the option. So, what do I hate? Battery's a bit smaller than the S7 Edge. It's 100 milliamp hours smaller. Which, what? It's a bigger phone. It should have a bigger battery. Worse than that, and this is the one compromise this phone has. In every other way, there's no compromise. Worse than that, the battery life is worse for me by 20 to 30 minutes per day than the S7 Edge. The bigger, brighter screen means more power draw. The added S Pen functionality and software listeners use more CPU cycles. And really, you know, it has an impact on battery life, which I really do not like. The thing that I hate most, though, is something that I hope they can solve for eventually, but just vexes the crap out of me. Oh my gosh. Okay, this phone overheats all the time. I swear. An hour ago, I was charging the phone. I think they're having issues with the USB-C and reconciling that with adaptive fast charging and all of their quick charge tech. I'm not sure, but if you plug this phone in and you're charging it, it's going to get hot. And if you do anything like, I downloaded one YouTube video using YouTube Red, of course, within the app, and the phone rebooted. This shouldn't be happening. I mean, this happens frequently. If it's searching for a network and charging, it seems to be related to the USB cable. Even if you disengage it, 20 minutes later, my phone rebooted after I disengaged it. But after I started charging it, it did not cool down. This is the same Qualcomm chipset we've had for a year. This is shameful. I'm frustrated at Qualcomm and Samsung for not dealing with this. Tell me in the comments if you're having these same issues. I haven't seen a lot online about it, but it's really frustrating to me. I have the Ryzen edition, and it's been overheating fairly regularly for me, which I don't love. And not only overheating, but interrupting what I do and rebooting the phone and staying hot. Should I have to put my phone in a refrigerator every minute? No, but I actually do that with this phone before I go on something like playing Pokemon for a while, right? So this should not be happening, and they need to fix it. I think they can probably work it out with some updates. And then the other thing I don't like is overall bugginess. There's a lot of bugs. There's a lot of apps that don't work quite right. Actually, there's some performance issues with Pokemon Go right now. But I will say this, the S7 Edge got less buggy over time, the Note 5 got less buggy over time, and that's with stable software updates and security updates and also app updates supporting the phone specifically as it became more popular. And I expect the same to happen with the Note 5. I don't like that it launches incredibly buggy, and I hope they'll stop doing that, but at least there's hope for that one. And so here's my verdict. If you are a Galaxy S7 Edge owner, do not buy this phone. Unless you love the S Pen, you want a 0.2-inch bigger screen that's slightly brighter and nicer, very, very slightly, you may not even notice. And you need all the latest tech. You need USB-C for some reason, you need, the S7 Edge gives you all the same internals, and you'll get better battery life and less overheating and bugginess right now, and it's cheaper. The only downside is the 32 gigabytes of internal storage standard, not 64, but that's not really a deal breaker. For my S7 owners, mostly the same recommendation as the S7 Edge, but I would say the slightly worse battery life on the S7 and no Edge functionality make this a maybe buy situation if you're interested, if you want a bigger phone. For all my Apple owners, you already know. Buy this now. iPhone 6s Plus is a joke next to this thing in every way. Samsung even includes an ingenious adapter that allows you to plug a lightning cable backwards via the USB side into this and then plug the other side into an Apple phone. And you can transfer all of your settings using a smart switch that Samsung provides from an Apple phone to a Samsung phone. That's a nice feature for Apple users switching specifically. All the Android users can just like bump phones, right? And that's fine. So to Note 5 owners, lastly, I love my Note 5. I think the Exynos processor is a better chipset product than the Qualcomm overheating ones the past two generations as they try to switch to 14 nanometer FinFET or whatever that is. They're failing, and it sucks. It always ran smooth for me. I love my Note 5. And there are some serious issues with overheating on the Note 7, but overall, this package is just too compelling. They addressed literally every issue I had with the Note 5. SD card slot in the back, 64 gigabytes of storage, standard, check. Bigger battery, faster charging, check. Better camera, check. Faster internal storage and RAM and processor, check. Better version of TouchWiz, check. Better screen even, check. Lighter, smaller, more beautiful too. Waterproofing, check. So if you're a Note 5 user, buy this now. It's better in every way than the Note 5, and trust me, it's worth it. You're going to love it. Everyone else, if you don't want a big screen or big phone, don't buy this. If overheating drives you nuts, don't buy this. For most other people, buy this now. And that's my review of the Galaxy Note 7.